It's making me nervous.
You get made fun of at the dock. It's horrible.
It's a nightmare working out on your boat. That looks like something I don't want to say out loud. We're sailing good, bad, and ugly. 3 years ago, we bought our boat off Craigslist for $5,000. I'm Kristen, and this is Matt. We are known to break the rules and do things a little less traditional. Hit subscribe to join the adventure. Thanks to our patrons for keeping us going. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Sailing GBU. As you can see, we pulled off to a shallow area. Today we're doing some maintenance, pretty much. We're getting crazy over here on our dinghy. Our dinghy could use some work. We bought it about 2 years ago for only $800, and it needs a little bit of upgrading, refitting.
Yeah, I'm going to show you guys how to do the whole refit in one day on this bad boy, because it's been about 3 years on this thing.
I thought it was 2.
2 years and 8 months. 2 years and 8 months that we've had it, and we've been running it hard. As you can see, we got the 15 horse, the big boy, and we beat the out of this dinghy. This is the cheapest dinghy on the market that I've seen, and we've definitely put it through the ringer, so she needs some loving. Alright, so one thing you got to do is this. You got to get all these barnacles off your engine, because I'm going to be changing my lower unit gear oil and also my regular oil in the big engine. So with all these little nooks and crannies, you want to make sure you have some gloves on, otherwise you'll cut your hands open a million times. And these gloves are tough. They don't let the barnacles hurt me. Alright guys, so those bugs were way too gnarly over there. I dropped Kristen back at the boat, and I'm out here a little more exposed than the breeze, a little bit rockier as you could probably tell, but I think that's going to keep the no-see-ums off of me, and hopefully that works, because that was no fun. It's going to take me about 20 minutes to clean this engine, so let's get to work. I found that these Brillo pads work the best for the grassy stuff. The Scotch Brites don't really take it off too good, but these rip it right off. All right, let's check out the work. Oh yeah. Still a little bit barnacle-y, but I think we can make that work.
Alright guys, so the next thing we gotta do is we're back to the boat. We're gonna take the outboard off and put it on our big boat so we can change out the oil and the gear oil, I think it's called. So jumping into that, today's a pretty ugly day overall. Normally we try to avoid filming much when it's an ugly day, but we don't got time. We gotta kick it in gear and get this ish done. So back to the dinghy bonanza.
Alright, because I haven't moved my gas tank in a while, there's some slime that grows up in my dinghy, and it's pretty slippery. I fell out of the boat once because of it, and I think trying to hoist this motor around with this slippery deck. Let's see. Whoa! Yeah, it's pretty slippery, so I'm going to brush that up so I don't die today.
And fly in with the outboard.
Flying with the outboard is not on my to-do list. I've been hoisting this 120, I don't know, 25, 26 pound dinghy on and off the boat for a couple of years now. And I got a lot of heat from y'all in the Bahamas. Everyone was saying, oh, you're gonna blow your back out, boy, just use the boom, blah, 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 blah. Yada, yada, yada. And I don't like listening too much to that. So what I do now, though, to kind of put your mind at ease, is I make a man purse.
What?
Tie it around the bottom, just to make this a little bit safer. I make a man purse.
Isn't that called a merce?
Yeah, I make a merce. I do this and I tie it up. And now when I go down like this, when I go down in the dams,
Oh gosh, this looks painful.
I just go like that there. And it gives me, there's my gripper. Gives me like a little bit more control over what's happening. And it lets me support the weight a lot better. So here's how we get this thing in the dinghy now. What I like to do is wrap it around my wrist to make sure my grip don't slip since it's wet. And I know what you're thinking, if you were to drop it in the water, it would suck you down to Davy Jones' locker. And what if you can't get your wrist undone? That's how we live here on GBU. I'd rather have my balls in the vise.
Don't worry, I'd grab a knife and dive down and save you. And you can hold your breath for a minute or two.
I'd rather just trust that I'm not going to fall. And then if I fall, you know what? I deserve to die. My best years are behind me and it's a wrap.
Oh my god.
So that's how that goes. That's my philosophy. And that's it. It's on the boat. Easy, safe and sound. Basically with your motor, when you lay it down for transport, you always want to lay it on this side because if not, the oil pan and stuff like that can jump around. And I know there's probably 100,000 of you right now. Well, not 100,000, maybe 10,000. Looking at this and saying, oh my God, can't put your motor like that. Sump pump, oil backflow, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. That's all a lie. Don't listen to anyone who tells you that. I've put this motor like this hundreds of times. Nothing's ever happened. The motor's still running great. In the Dominican Republic, they all use those. So you can put your motor like this, and you can take that to the bank. All level looks pretty good, but we're gonna go ahead and change our wrap.
Ideally, guys, don't pick a day when your boat's going side to side. Some reason today, a little bit of swell's coming in, and it's making me nervous. Matt doesn't seem to care, but for me, all I keep seeing is the motor crashing down and chopping off our toes.
Yeah, I don't care because I listen to that song. I listen to one song, work, whip it, smack it, side to side.
What?
Work, smack it, side to side.
I don't know, guys.
The roll never
I
hurt
don't know
nobody.
what's happening here
Listen
today
here.
for us.
Listen here, kids. I'm going to break it down for you. If you can't deal with it on the roll, if you can't deal with the roll, get an RV. You know, because the roll is real. The roll is out here. If you think this is going to be just chilling all the time, it ain't never going to be. Especially, and listen to me, especially if you have to get anything done, the conditions will conspire against you to make it as awful as it can possibly be. So, get used to the roll. First things first, oil change is what I'm going to do. Pro tip, roll one of these bad boys up. If you can afford it, shove it in there.
If you can afford a bounty.
If you can afford a bounty.
They are pricey.
Bro, if you're in the Bahamas, that's like at least $6 right there. If you're in the Bahamas, this much paper towel is the whole oil change in the States. So that'll help you catch some oil so that 1, you don't get oil back in the water. 2, you don't get oil all over your deck. So that's the pro tip. Let's see how it works out. Uh-oh. Them boys are married now. Another quick pro tip. Get yourself a little bit of dangly string. Got this in here. You got that all tied together. Now you can be one-handed. You don't have to worry about your funnel.
What's the name of this pro tip?
Pro tip is called the funky funnel.
I don't know if we can afford that many paper towels.
This is just for blotting.
Pro tip! Pro tip, it's filling up too fast, Matthew! Oh, Jesus crispy Christ. Did that happen like it was supposed to?
Alright guys, same thing. Pro tip. under your filter, you want to do the same thing with this to reduce spillage.
The oil filter is now being changed.
Oil filter is now going to be changed. I'm going to be a little bit gentle with it just because when you're traveling abroad, you don't really know what parts you're getting. So even though this is the part that I ordered for it, blah, 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 it may be the wrong size filter. So I'm going to try to make this one as nice as I can. Keep it as nice as I can because it may...
have to go back on.
Yeah, it might have to go back on. And I can tell you guys, so far I'm doing such a great job of keeping it nice.
Is that sarcasm?
Yeah. Alright, here she goes. Alright, now we're on to the gear lube portion of the day. Now we've reached the point where the oil is going to go back into the motor. I have here some Valvoline premium protection, good stuff here, and we're going to run that through. Luckily here, Mercury puts a little sticker next to where the oil goes in that tells you what horsepower you have and how much oil you have to put back in there. They do that for people that could struggle with these sort of mechanical things, not genius mechanics like me. For someone that's not quite as sharp and as good around a wrench as I am, they make it nice and easy for you here.
Alright guys, and that's pretty much it. Now we just have to clean the bottom of the dinghy, and then we have a few more projects left in this dinghy bonanza though.
Oh yes, delicious.
Alright guys, so it's day 2. We're still in our 24 hours of our boat refit in a day, and we gotta head to land for the next project.
Alright, first things first, I cleaned the whole bottom. Now I'm going to give it a quick wipe down with some mineral spirits just to kind of clean off some of that dust, and also salt that got on it. And make sure when you do this, if you do this, not to get too close to the glued seams, because this can break down the glue and kind of tear your whole dinghy apart. So just kind of go in the middle parts with it. With the roll-up dinghy, eventually through the years of riding her hard like I do, you get little holes in the bottom. As you can see, the bottom is soft. In Key West, we ran into a wreck and ripped 2 big holes in the bottom, and slowly little pinhole leaks occur, and it just keeps filling up your dinghy with water, and you got to keep constantly scooping it out. You get made fun of at the dock. It's horrible. So in order to fill those little pinholes, it's, as you can see here, it would be impossible to find one. It could be a little tiny hole there, it could be a little tiny hole there. The little tiny hole could be anywhere. So what I'm going to do is clean the bottom, which I've already done, put some acetone to help get some of the debris off, and then I have a pretty crazy idea that you may have seen on TV before that I think might work. We're going to experiment because it's just what we got to do out here on GBU.
Dun dun dun.
Okay, so I found one of those really small pinholes that I was talking about earlier, right here. You know, one of those really subtle, hard to find sort of deals. Yeah, this whole flap had come off in the front. Usually most of the weight's in the back. That's where the engine goes. That's where the wagon usually is. So no water usually comes in the front, but I'm going to be able to glue this back down. And we're bringing her back to life. Now that my surface is clean and prepared, it's time for the ultimate finale of this. Dun dun dun! Leak stopper, rubber flex. It's basically the Puerto Rican Flex Seal. I saw that guy on, as seen on TV, Bobby Mays or Willie Mays or whatever the hell his name is. He said, wow, that's a lot of damage. Stops water on contact. So they made a screen door on a bottom of a boat and they paddle it around. Check that out if you ain't never seen it. But that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do 3 thin layers of this, and I think it should fill in all those cracks and really help me out. This was only 10 bucks, so even if this is something I need to do annually to kind of help me out, I don't really mind doing that. Even biannually, I guess is what I should say. So we're gonna get to that now. Here we go.
And this is an experiment. We never tried it before, so we don't know if it's gonna stick or not, right?
True. All right, so back to this big dinghy little boat refit. I have to rebuild my outboard bracket. This is how I mount the motor on the boat while we're sailing. I used to have it inside because it was so up high on my bimini that I had to have it inside so that the cockpit could share some of that weight. I thought putting it outside on the bimini was just a little too heavy for it. So now I'm gonna move it down, build the outboard bracket for that, make it custom, and then also, speaking of a heavy motor, it bent the plywood transom on my dinghy a little bit, and it's kind of putting some stress on that. So I'm going to beef up my transom with a 2x8 as well. So a little bit of woodworking to do, still got some stuff to get done. Alright, so now I did some work on this. I got all the stuff ground off, sanded off. You can call me Sandy from now on. No more Tarpon Tanner, now I'm Sandy. I drilled these holes. You can see these kind of faces. This guy's going like, ah!
What the heck are you talking about?
The eyes are where this mounts to the rails, and then I have another U-bolt, I think is what it's called, that goes around that actually attaches directly to the railing as well. I U-bolt the motor on with. So this is the U-bolt for the motor, this is the U-bolt for the bracket, and now we're gonna get to sanding. I did the white side, this side faces the inside, so we'll have to look at it, and then I have this nice rich mahogany side for the outside people, you know. Alright, so now I'm about to install my newly fabricated outboard bracket. And we're going to see, now that we saw how hard it was for me to do this before. Well, I mean, some people say it was hard. I don't say it was hard. But we'll see if it looks a little bit easier now to put the outboard on. So, got her in there, U-bolted on. Let's see if I trust her.
Oh no, I'm nervous. That looks like something I don't want to say out loud.
Alright, she ain't going nowhere.
guys, so it took Matt quite a while to do that back transom.
Transom.
He had to keep taking the motor off and on and realigning things. It's a nightmare working out on your boat and not being at a dock or at land. And he's about fed up.
And every time you move the motor, you have those flashbacks of dropping it in the water. So yeah, it sucks. Working on the boat, doing these projects all the time, it's kind of a little bit of a pain in the butt. It sucks. It takes the joy out of doing these little jobs that would normally be fun. But it was the work that we wanted to do for the dinghy. The dinghy's the cheapest one you can get on the market, and we've gotten a lot of time out of it, and we want to get a little more time of it, at least one more season. And I think if you get a $700 dinghy, 3 seasons out of it, that's pretty baller, especially every single day we use it. So, and we ride her pretty hard. So it was fun trying some new things, and all in all, a lot of work, but I think it was rewarding in its own right.
Well, make sure you guys like and thumbs up this video. Give Matt a comment. He needs it. He's had a tough time doing his work projects. Alright guys, we'll see you next week. Bye!